Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Handegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Rocco's New Orleans Style Po' Boys here on Drusilla. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Handegriff, Jimmy Ott, Mike Delicano with us today, and Max Gotro. Jordan Kinch's back in the studio. Lots of picks coming from Vegas. Colucci, Humans will be with us today. We'll get into all of that. Tulane playing tonight. Might draw a little bit, a few more eyes here
Audition?
in Baton Rouge. Huh?
Audition?
I'm sure a lot of people will be watching tonight with interest.
A little closer eye?
Yeah, a little bit closer eye than they usually do.
They're only 3.5-point favorite. I mean, you lose to UTSA. Is that going to – is that – how damaging is that?
I don't think that they've got any margin for error if you're talking about the playoff.
What's that?
I don't think they've got any margin.
I'm talking about to be the next LSU coach.
And I guess maybe they're kind of intertwined. If he does well enough to make the playoffs, he'll be a more attractive coach here.
Well, they're an outside shot to make the playoff.
They'd have to, they'd have to win out, and then they'd need some help. But yeah, I imagine a few people will be watching a little bit closer tonight. But
how important is their showing tonight to his candidacy?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little
right.
bit. I don't think it's it's just a piece of the other resume, but
should be a little bit.
Yes, it should be.
Okay.
What things should be and what things are right now is a little bit of an interesting line. So all anybody is talking about right now is Governor Jeff Landry's comments yesterday at a press conference that was called essentially to talk about the effect of the government shutdown on state services. It turned into much more of a political grandstand on how LSU's next football coach is going to be picked. I don't. If you haven't heard the comments by now, you've been living under a rock for the last 24 hours. But I want to take
every national show that I've listened to is playing it.
Yeah, everyone. So we've played it, I think, half a dozen times already this morning. So let me take them because I got some comments on all of them. The biggest thing that caught everybody's attention is I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. I'll let Donald Trump select him before I let him do it. He said LSU's next coach would be that he was not hiring the next coach, but that the Board of Supervisors would come up with a committee, and they're going to find us a coach compensated properly, putting metrics on the contract, and indicating he'd like to see a deal with less guaranteed money and more incentives. I'm tired of rewarding failure in this country. It's ridiculous. Lawyers would be disbarred if they act the way these agents do. If big billionaires want to spend that kind of money, no problem. But if I got to go find $53 million, it's not going to be a pleasant conversation. He confirmed that he hosted a meeting at the governor's mansion on Sunday, the night Kelly was fired, but said the meeting was not about whether Kelly would be pushed out, but rather about the legalities of the cost of this. So let me kind of take these one at a time. On Saturday night when we did the post game, we talked ad nauseum about how important the LSU presidency was to the next coach, and they did whittle the list down to 3. I think we know that Wade Roos is the strong favorite. The president needs to become LSU's next president next week, and we knew that the president would have a strong influence on the search. The question was, what would Scott Woodward's role be in the search going forward? Well, now we have our answer to that.
Charlie, that's no surprise.
No, that is
publicizing
it is, and this
is not a surprise even before A&M if they went this route.
And if they had beaten A&M, this would be a whole different conversation. But that happened so this is where we are.
I mean, you get credit for Mulkey, you get credit for Johnson, you don't get credit for McMahon, you don't get credit for Wade, you don't get credit for Kelly. I mean, but this one's more important than all those put together.
If you want to fire the AD, I understand that, okay? I probably wouldn't have at this time, and I'll explain why, but ADs have been fired for less than just hiring one bad football coach or one bad basketball coach. And he hired a football coach who won but underachieved and a basketball coach that's been a dud. So, okay, ADs have been fired for less. There was no reason to publicly humiliate Scott Woodward the way the governor did
or
yesterday.
Attempt to.
Well, it was embarrassing for everybody, I think. My opinion.
Woody's not alone on getting embarrassed on that deal.
No, he's not.
All of us are.
There was no reason to do that. If you wanted to fire the guy, be a professional about it. Woodward has made mistakes. I get it. He's not perfect. He's done some good things, done some bad things. There's never been any question in my mind that he wanted what was best for LSU. But, yes, he's made some missteps. So if you want to fire him, fire him. The reason I wouldn't fire him right now is that institutional memory is an important part of going about hiring a coach. The mistakes you've made in the past or just the ability to get somebody on the phone. Joe Dean did not hire Nick Saban, okay? But he played one key role in it, and it was by accident, okay? And it was that his son, Joe Dean Jr., had lunch with Sean Tuohy in Memphis, Tennessee, and Sean Tuohy was friends with a then anonymous lawyer named Jimmy Sexton, who happened to represent Nick Saban. Now, that was a complete accident, maybe, but it played a part.
But he has resources.
He has contacts. Yes.
Woody didn't start. Woody's had contacts at LSU, so he can help you raise money, and he has. He's did the A&M thing. We can go and dissect the statements on the inaccuracies and the exaggerations, okay? It's full of them. But Sarkisian was a hit at Washington. I mean, Peterson was a massive hit at Washington. I mean, there's some wins along the way. And how many people were crushing? I mean, maybe was a little strong. It was obviously a little strong with the length of Kelly, but there was not a. What did you think you were going to do to get Notre Dame's coach?
If you wanted that resume, that's what you had to pay.
And publicizing it now lets people know that we know the governor is going to have a role. He's appointing the board. The board's going to take over. It's not going to be your athletic director. So he's influencing the hire. He might say he's influencing the hire, and he just eliminated some people probably.
It didn't help.
He possibly eliminated some people yesterday.
You can argue about how much it hurt, but it certainly did not
help.
It
didn't make it warm and fuzzy.
So even if you said Scott Woodward is not going to hire privately, is not going to hire the next athletic director, I would have at least kept him in those meetings. So, like you say, he can get somebody on the phone to speak candidly. He can kind of walk you through some of this stuff. He can be of assistance, and you don't have to take his suggestion on anything.
Joe Dean was more of a lame duck than Woody was on this whole deal.
He was,
because Woody's getting paid if you're telling him to walk. Joe Dean wasn't getting that kind of money.
And if you fired him next week, then fire him next week when the president takes office, and be professional about it. So the political grandstanding about Woodward's not going to hire the coach, I don't think did anybody any good. When he said the new coach will be compensated properly, the next coach is not likely, unless Saban did come out of retirement, which nobody thinks is going to happen, is not going to have the resume Kelly did, so you wouldn't expect him to have the contract that Kelly did. So, of course, but when you say compensated properly, boy, I go back to when Joe Dean used to say, we'll be very competitive in the marketplace, which was code for we're going cheap, okay? You want a good coach, you're going to have to pay for him. The same way Kelly's contract was structured? No, I'm not for 10-year contracts because I don't think anybody sticks around for 10 years anymore, okay? So I'm against that, but listen, you start talking about just putting it all in incentives and you're going to run some other people off. I suspect that they will come around on that. Metrics in the contract, well, they're sort of already there, okay? We've talked about this. If you don't make the playoffs a certain amount of years, you're probably going to be fired. Do you really want to put that in a contract? You got to win. You got to win 10 games, but if you win 9, we got to fire you. I mean, come on. That's not realistic. You really want to go into a November game going, he really is coaching for his job. It's right there in his contract. So I wasn't wild about that one either. as far as we talked about the NCAA putting guardrails on coaches' contracts. Governor Landry's a lawyer. He knows good and well that the NCAA can't do that. It's a marketplace deal on coaches' salaries. Now, public universities can talk about the public funds, but this is private donations paying for a lot of this stuff. Come on. The NCAA is barely keeping the doors open as it is. He knows good and well that the NCAA, of all people, cannot control the coaching marketplace. And here's the factual things that he got wrong. Kelly and Fisher are not represented by the same person. Kelly is represented by Trace Armstrong. Fisher is represented by Jimmy Sexton. And as far as I know, Scott Woodward doesn't have an agent. If he does, he's got a lawyer, I guess. But if he's got an agent, I don't know who he is. Woodward was responsible for the first Jimbo Fisher contract. He was not responsible for the extension. Is he culpable there? Yes, but wasn't all him. Kelly was having
that guy who did that's got the best AD job in the country.
He went to Ohio State after that. Kelly was having a disappointing season, certainly short of expectations. He was not having a losing season. So if you're gonna sling arrows, at least be accurate. And most importantly, the taxpayers are not footing the bill for this. The taxpayers haven't footed the bill for the athletic department since the 1980s. Okay, it was the whole reason Joe Dean was brought in the first place, because Bob Broadhead had him drowning in red ink, despite the fact that he had hired some good coaches, and they brought Dean in to get him back in the black financially, which he did at great cost to the success of a lot of the programs, but he did. So this yesterday didn't do anybody any good, and it certainly didn't help in the search for a new coach and probably a new AD.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Doesn't the board of supervisors have to approve the contract?
Yes.
Okay, so the board of supervisors that approved Kelly's contract, and now the board of supervisors are the ones that are going to conduct the coaching search.
There's been some turnover, and there'll be more next year. But some of those.
No, but those are some of the same ones slamming Woody too.
Yeah,
that vote that approved it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's.
And the sad thing is that there were some things that Landry said yesterday that I actually agree with, but the delivery needs. Good gracious. Anybody that works for a living is offended by the fact that somebody's going to get $50 million to not work. I mean. That bothers. I don't like to see that. I don't think that that's right. I don't think that that's particularly fair. Anybody that gets up and goes to work in the morning is like, man, I'd sure like to be paid for not working. The buyouts have gotten out of control, and the athletic directors have been routed by the agents. That's nothing new. But my goodness, what's your solution to this? What is your solution to this?
Only takes one. And if you don't think they got the billionaire boosters who've always been, involved, I mean, that they're going to – you don't think – it only takes one. You don't think Florida or LSU or Penn State would give Lane Kiffin a 10-year deal?
Michigan just paid $12 million for a quarterback. So, yes, I do believe that boosters will get involved in that.
Well, you don't think Cignetti's going to leave them with it? Probably going to leave them with the tab?
He's unlikely to – finish that contract.
Yeah, I mean,
he's 64 years old. It's a 9-year contract, counting this year. Yes, he's unlikely to finish that thing.
So, I mean,
I'd like to see the buyouts curtailed, but give me the answer to that. Okay, don't just say, "Well, this is
coaches." And do coaches can they make a difference in your football program?
They make all the difference.
So I mean, you got a lot at stake and taking that chance, and then when private boosters are willing to up it, we've had to alter our stance. Man, the money don't matter. You got a handful of guys who are willing to do it. So what? It's not your man. I'm watching the news, but the local news. They're interviewing an attorney and they're talking and they're slamming how this is this is your tax that's your tax dollars.
And
it's so far from the truth.
This is not taxpayer dollars. I mean, if it was, we'd have a conversation, but it's not. Okay, most of this buyout is coming.
He's saying he left him with them. The exaggeration in College Station.
And listen, we are in this all day, every day. We know how this thing works. When the governor gets up and says something like that, the casual fan listens to it and believes it to be true.
Well,
and it's just not accurate.
Whether it was this show, even Dusty Dvorak and Danny Cannell this morning, they're playing it. Childers and Newhouse, it's provided a it's provided some entertainment for a lot of people around the country because
Guys.
they are laughing and laughing, and it's ridicule, man. It's just typical Louisiana type of thing. It's just
I think the biggest difference going forward is when you just talked when Jimmy just asked you about coaching making a difference for the program. Yes, it does, but I think it's going to change from pre-NIL, pre-transfer portal to now, because if you look year to year, you just can't roll out you can't keep all these recruits, keep these guys, and put these teams out year after year. Look at the changes from you can't compare eras from good coaches.
Mike, no, it's obvious. We have data now that non-traditional powers can have success at the highest level. Okay, Indiana, Vanderbilt, and Ole Miss are going to play off. Or I mean, Vandy might have a chance.
Right.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's you're leaving some heavyweights on the side, but still, the coach is. Some coaches are better at getting boosters excited to give them that player budget.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Now you're not even talking about coaching.
All we got to talk about is LSU's current head basketball coach and their previous basketball coach. I mean, it's night and day, and you see the results. Okay, but you are a fundraiser.
Exactly.
Okay, you are a fundraiser now, so it's just.
It used to be whether they could recruit players.
Right.
Now it's can you recruit money?
Right. Yeah. So it's just. Look, but the coach in the current landscape can make a difference, and maybe even more so. So the market's going to decide. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are screwed up and people overpaid. But man, if the guy that's got so much money and he's happy to write you the check, I mean, man.
And there has been a little bit of a market correction. The coach at A&M right now is making less than the previous one. Coach at Alabama now is making less than the previous one. And I'm pretty sure that the coach at LSU, the next one, will make less than the previous one because he doesn't have the resume that the previous one does.
And the biggest thing of taking about it, you were everybody wants to know who it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a Power 4 successful coach. Is he capable of influencing parameters?
Yeah. When the governor says I'm not hiring a coach, but then
indirectly he's
of course he has put a president in place, or he's got his chosen president, which is fine. That's what the governor's supposed to do. All right. But when he was in the meeting that fired the coach and he goes out and publicly eviscerates the athletic director, then yes, we're going to believe he has some influence.
Not just the parameters he's publicizing yesterday that he will try to influence with the board members, because it's going to be a group of board members who are going to conduct this. But also, you're pursuing people that are successful. You're not pursuing struggling coaches.
No.
Okay? So I'm a successful coach. I've got a good situation at, say, Ole Miss, and I might be able to compete now at Ole Miss and don't need the resources at LSU maybe like I need to, and I'm going into that situation?
Right.
Wait a minute. Oh, no, it doesn't help.
And you've now put yourself in a position where if you do fire Scott Woodward next week, and my goodness, yesterday he essentially fired him in the press conference, either you are going to hire a football coach that doesn't have a sitting athletic director, or you are going to bring an athletic director in, or you're going to have to bring in an athletic director in next year that's already got a football coach that he didn't hire. Okay, so I don't know that that's really comfortable for either the new AD or the new coach. I will say that the LSU brand is so damn strong right now that there's still going to be plenty of attention and plenty of interest in both of these jobs. But did you make anything easier yesterday? No, you did not.
Celebrating 25 years, huh, Mike? Over here at Rocco's?
Yes, he's been here. He's been at this location for 25 years.
Oh, I tell you, well, you threw Rocco a life preserver. Good thing we got you.
That's a lot of po' boys, man. That's a lot of po' boys.
What's the most popular? Is the roast beef?
The hot roast beef with the gravy, New Orleans style.
There you go.
And the fried shrimp would be the second most popular. But everything is there's a lot of items that are very good.
You got, but I mean the muffalata, the seafood muffalata. Is a Rocco original over here. So 25 years since right up that hill, Charlie. Well, coming from New Orleans, I thought that was like a mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, that was from State Street to about Chimes right there. The original Rocco's back 25 years ago. So, and looks great on the sign, too. He's lost a little weight on the sign. If you haven't noticed, yes. So it's Ozempic Rocco on the sign over here. But look, man, packed. It's every day, huh?
Yeah, we do a pretty good lunch business, and like I said, it's a very, very versatile menu. Yeah. You mentioned some of the things, and there's a lot of best red beans and rice in town. So there's a lot of things going.
Get Mayo. Get Mayo's stamp of approval. So
we got to get him in here.
Colucci's got horses, hockey, NFL. We got humans. He's been hot as well, and is the governor on TV again?
Yes, he's on McAfee. He's on McAfee's show.
Yeah, well, that's what he wants.
This guy loves the camera.
I can't hear what he's saying.
We've heard enough.
I suspect we will.
I mean,
hey, I got an idea. You want to jump out of the political arena and into the sports when we come back from the break?
Charlie, your show.
Live at Rocco's. Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
Here at Rocco's New Orleans Style Po' Boys here on Drusilla. Remember, you can always get the show on demand, 1045ESPN.com. LouisianaSports.net, brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com, supporting our Louisiana farmers since the 1930s. All right, Mike, in the middle of all this, the football team's got the week off, but Frank Wilson, we all know really well, is going to take over as the interim coach. What's realistic from a player standpoint, a coach's standpoint, to get accomplished in the last month of the season here?
Well, the first thing that has happened already is that, you talk about if to fire a coach during the season or wait till after the season. When you do it during the season, the first thing is you've eliminated all that talk and all those problems. That's everybody's more relaxed. It's already happened. It's over with. So that's the thing. Everybody's a little looser in this kind of situation. So from Frank Wilson's point of view, he just needs to take this looseness and developing it into concentration and aggressiveness and just really cutting loose with this team, because you've already missed your goals. There's no pressure. Just go out and try to win a game. You're trying to win this game, the next game, and then after that you'll try to win the next game. You're not trying to win the national championship. You're not trying to make the 12-team playoff. So if he can just motivate and keep that focus, and then you got, like Jimmy made a good point on Sunday, we're talking about things like this. The guys, even that aren't going to be here, and a lot of these guys on this team will not be here there next year. We know that. They're kind of auditioning. This is like where other schools can watch. So they have that going for them also. But, again, the main thing is the lack of pressure now. You use that to your advantage.
Yeah. And I'm also looking for players that may not have played or not played as much. Harlem Berry comes immediately to mind, who didn't play a whole lot or didn't carry the ball in the second half. But a guy like a Nick Anderson, Michael Van Buren may get a package or something to run a quarterback, and I'm just throwing those out as examples.
Well, what we do see is sometimes we see a little jolt. Sometimes we see some different. I mean, UCLA a little bit. When Ogeron was at USC, we do see a little spark sometimes.
When Ogeron was here,
the interim energy, and because short term, it's usually a guy that's popular in the locker room. That is taken over an interim, and then so. And
keep in mind, I mentioned lack of pressure on the players. I forgot to mention lack of pressure on the coaches. So whoever's calling the offensive plays, whoever's calling the defensive plays, can maybe take a few more chances, do a few things where you don't have that tightness that you had before. And I mentioned it through all these years being on the radio, a lot of these coaches tighten up in big games when they need to make a third down call or something like that. They might just do something very predictable that's worked for them in the past. Now you have
totally different level of aggression, protecting a lead or a contract and pursuing one.
Right.
Completely different levels of aggression. And we've seen places like LSU. The interim coach won the job. Clemson, the interim coach won the job. This year, top 10 team, Georgia Tech, interim coach won the job. So, I mean, it takes a lot, but still it'll be interesting to see. Now, you still going to block. Still got to block for the quarterback.
And and you still can't. You still got to block for the quarterback, and you still can't make, for example, offensively, make wholesale changes. You can, you just don't have the time. You can make a few little adjustments, but not the wholesale.
Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060, full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional services, what you get with our long-standing team. Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. She's Chad Reynolds at Legacy Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Live at Rocco's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Colucci, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well, legend. You know what it is. It's Breeders' Cup week, so I'm happy.
Yeah, yes, indeed. All right. Before we get to that, let's start off with the NFL pick. Hit again. Good job. So, Football Sunday, we've been rocking and rolling. Like 5 consecutive profitable weeks. You're looking at the Lions this week. Why you like the Lions?
I'll be honest with you. I just don't know what Minnesota's plans are going to be moving forward. We know J.J. is coming back this week. J.J. McCarthy sat out for like 5 weeks. A lot of skepticism on if he was even healthy to go last week, which, they said he was dancing around, Jimmy, the sidelines, avoiding guys that are, falling on the sidelines and stuff. So a lot of people perceived him as healthy. So now you got Carson Wentz, who underwent surgery, and he's done for the season. Will McCarthy be able to step right in against this quality opponent in their own division? And that's the whole key. I mean, we're looking at 9 at the Rampart South Point. Up a tick from the 8.5 opener. Would have been nice to get it at 8.5, Jimmy. But, I just think the Lions could do enough to keep McCarthy off the field. And, he notoriously starts slow. And with the inactivity period, I mean, how's he going to get it going right away against this Detroit team? And I think Detroit will open up a lead. And it's going to be tough for Detroit to, Minnesota to play catch up with Detroit so far ahead, in my opinion.
We are our local shop here where we're doing our show this Football Sunday. This Sunday, the Queen, the DraftKings outlet, it is 8.5 minus 110 right
beautiful.
now. So so Detroit. All right, let's keep that going. Let's keep the boy. You were so close. What a wild game that was last week with Montreal in Edmonton. Down 3-1, up 5-3. I mean, my goodness, and then lose 6-5. But let's go to the Penguins here on the road at Minnesota. I'm seeing as much as plus 145. Another shot on a dog here.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a weird game just because of the fact you look at Minnesota's last few games, Jimmy, they've been just horrible. I mean, they're terrible. They've lost 4 in a row, god-awful, and you're talking about 3 in a row now at home. So, they lost to Winnipeg 4-3. They lost to San Jose, who's not really a good team, 6-5. They lost to Utah 6-2. Utah's much improved, and they got hammered by the Devils. They're not showing any signs of improvement moving forward with this wild team, whereas the Penguins are 7-2-2. They're getting great play out of Malkin. Now, don't get me wrong, they lost 2 out of 3, but, they lost to Columbus. That was a tough game. They lost 5-4. They lost 3-2 at Philadelphia. In between was a big victory against St. Louis. St. Louis is playing terrible as well. But they were able to beat Florida, Vancouver, and L.A. prior to that, who are 3 quality teams. So, a lot of people wrote the Penguins off. Sid the Kid, Malkin, getting real old, not calling them a kid anymore. But now, all of a sudden, the Penguins are 7-2-2, and Minnesota is 3-5-3. That's like a total role reversal, Jimmy. So keep your eye on this game. I think it's going to come down. We opened it at 165. We have it currently at 165. There's some shops that have 170, and there's some shops that have 160. So this line is all over the place, but I think Pittsburgh is going to take a lot of late money just because Minnesota hasn't found their legs as of yet. They're also the type of franchise, Jimmy, they start getting going later in the season as the season goes on. So I think this is possibly a good spot for the Penguins. Total is 6.5. You may even see an over in this game, under a shaded 125, so you get the big on that as well.
Okay. All right, next one, your Rangers. You've been following those for those games a little bit closer. Going to Edmonton. So back here in Edmonton, this time we're going to get on the home team on a Thursday night. Edmonton's about, I'm seeing minus 160, 165, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. And what's funny about the Rangers? Rangers are playing better on the road. So I'm going against the grain here. I mean, they had quality wins. They shut Vancouver down the other night. Vancouver had a long East Coast road trip. So, that kind of, I factored that in. Rangers had a good chance in that game. They got hammered by Calgary on the road the prior game. after coming off 2 home losses. Their biggest victory of the season was in Montreal, where they played a very solid game, but I haven't seen them replicate that yet. You will get Igor Shesterkin off off a rest, I should say, for the Rangers because Jonathan Quick played the other night. But Edmonton has not lost at home. That's the whole factor. They beat Montreal in a quality game, 6-5, like we said last week. That was my heartbreaker. I mean, Montreal gave that game away. Refs kind of helped them along, too, with a phantom, unsportsmanlike conduct for tapping your stick on the ice, Jimmy. I mean, give me a break. Sometimes these refs, they just overexert themselves. And we're not just talking about the NHL, guys. We're talking about every sport where the refs play a factor. So since then, they did lose 2 games, but they were on the road. And then they came back and have it Utah, who is improved, like I said, 6-3 at home. So their home victories are against Utah, Montreal, as well as Vancouver, so they're pretty solid. Their opening night loss was an aberration at home against Calgary. I think Edmonton is in a good spot here. McDavid, Draisaitl, they're looking to get it going. They have a serviceable 2-goalie tandem, Jimmy, so they should be okay, despite Shesterkin being between the pipes for the Rangers. Rangers are going to have to play real tight defense against this offense, but I'm not sure if they could replicate the Vancouver game. When you talk about Vancouver and Edmonton, Vancouver's a tight, checking, defensive, good goaltender team. Edmonton's wide open, possibly one of the best offenses in the NHL. So it's like night and day. I like Edmonton in this spot.
All right. Now let's get to the Breeders' Cup. Friday and Saturday, reminder, programming note, Eclipse Award-winning Michael Bachok will be with us on tomorrow's show to give a couple of his picks. I know that's one of your horse racing buddies. And, Colucci, this is your time of the year. Let's start off with the big one. We'll go in reverse order here. But the Breeders' Cup Classic, 10-horse field has been cut to 9 with Sovereignty being scrapped. A little fever. A little horse fever in Del Mar. So, but it's at Del Mar again, back-to-back years for the second year in a row. And and the odds have shifted certainly. And we'll start with your pick because Sierra Leone with Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt went from 8-1 to 7-2 on the morning line odds. The shift after the scratch of Sovereignty.
Yeah, David Aragona gave a suspect explanation for that as well. I mean, I thought those odds to begin with were too inflated. You're talking about the Breeders' Cup champion returning back to the scene of the crime. The last race you could have just thrown out. He was totally impeded when, the jockey Irad Ortiz fell off one of the horses. It was compromised. He fell off Mindframe, who, was going to be the major opponent in that race at Saratoga. And it kind of impeded his stride. He had to avoid the horse, Flavian Pratt, and he did a great job. But, a lot of people were looking at that as a loss. I looked at it more of as an excellent effort against Antiquarian in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He's done very little wrong, won the Whitney again. Mindframe beat him into Stephen Foster, but that was kind of off of a long layoff. There was a gap early on in the season between Sierra Leone's races. It took him a little more time to get acclimated this year with his surroundings. And, I just think they were overinflating Sovereignty. And the question with Sovereignty with the scratch, Jimmy, I mean, I thought Bill Mott should have brought the horse to Del Mar a lot sooner, maybe 20, 30 days out, as opposed to leaving the horse in Saratoga, where that is such a tough travel. You're talking across the United States, even for an animal of that, a special animal like Sovereignty, and you're going from 30 degrees to now a beautiful 70, 75-degree setting. We know how the difference in climate is from Saratoga to Del Mar, and, not to knock Bill Mott, but I thought the horse should have been there a lot sooner, and that's why he scratched, because he spiked that fever on multiple days. But I thought the odds were a little out of whack to begin with. I think Sierra Leone is still, the best horse in the country. Going to have to be Forever Young, naturally, the Japanese horse, but he's only had 2 prep races, and they were massively separated there, Jimmy. He ran in April, the Dubai World Cup, and then he came back at Japan, and that was October 1st. So now he's coming over, and he's going to take a lot of money, don't get me wrong. Fierceness, he's definitely, he might be the favorite, to be honest with you. That dominating race at Del Mar was a great prep. last year's Breeders' Cup, I was just listening to Mike Rapoli, and he's 100% right. The fractions in last year's Breeders' Cup Classic were incredible for fierceness to hang in there and only lose by a length. And now he returns, and he has a prep race over the track, which is so important. Don't sell fierceness short. He's going to be tough. I'm looking, though, to complete the exact, actually, with Baeza. I think Baeza definitely is going to be – he's going to be monstrous. I mean, this was he just keeps improving. And, you know, people say, oh, he's the third best between Sovereignty Journalism and Baeza. But he was making up a ton of ground in that Kentucky Derby. And just remember, he finished the closest to Sovereignty in the Jim Dandy. He was only a length off of Sovereignty. People get confused, you know. They think that, you know, the Travers. No, the Belmont this year was the race he finished third, where he was getting acclimated to Saratoga because the Belmont was at Saratoga. Then his next race against Sovereignty, he cut the distance down to a length. And that was a great race. Sovereignty had to be used by Baeza. You know, he's in good hands now with Hector Berrios. So I'm looking at an exactly there with Sierra Leone and Baeza.
Okay, I want to get your other pick in before we got to go to break, and that's Sweet Azteca. We're looking at the Fillies and Mares Sprint 7 furlongs on race 4 on Saturday.
This horse is just amazing, I'll tell you right now. I know Richard Baltus. I've spoken to him about this horse. The horse is just training up to the race magnificently. 2 for 2 over the track at Del Mar, including a big crush in the Rancho Bernardo. Although that was a grade 3, he was just dominating. 108-2, 115-2 for 6.5. He won at Los Al earlier last year. He won at Del Mar. This horse is just fabulous and in tremendous shape right now. Both of Richard Baltus's horses, keep an eye on, Mr. Odd. Trust me, Ag Bullet and Sweet Azteca, they're both going to make noise.
2-1 morning line right now for the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. All right, Annie, can you confirm the rumors floating around that Governor Jeff Landry has contacted you to be a part of the search committee for LSU's next coaching hire?
I was just going to ask you, I see all rumors on Twitter. Is Eddie O going to be back? Is Orgeron going to be back?
Charlie's got all the answers.
Not as a head coach, I don't think.
He said, I seen the interview. He said he'd be right in his truck and ready to go, and I don't blame the guy, I tell you. But he did win a title. I mean, we know all the edgy stuff around him, but guy was a good head coach, I'll be honest with you. So I don't know. Maybe Belichick will be available.
if when we did this show last Thursday, I would have laid out exactly what was going to happen in the next 7 days, as it has happened in the last 7 days. Jimmy would have sent me home. He'd have said, Hannah Griff, you're drunk. Okay? So, truth is stranger than fiction, my friend.
We're new at this. We're trying to get the hang of things. So, yes, we've been pretty off on predicting how this whole thing would unfold. Kaluch, have a great time. Look, follow Dwayne on Twitter because he's a lot of Breeders' Cup stuff Friday and Saturday at NYBookie Dwayne. At NYBookie Dwayne. You in Vegas, go see my man at the Rampart Sportsbook. He's going to treat you with some hospitality. Good luck to you, Dwayne. We'll be following you, brother, this weekend.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. And, Jimmy, I'll definitely text you if I get some great information on this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know. Love you guys.
All right, buddy. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com for not just windows, but doors, siding, and shutters. Top quality windows, doors, siding, and shutters. Exceptional service. So you've in the market, if your homeowners association requires wood windows like mine, you got to call a friend. I made the mistake. Don't make the mistake like I did and go with somebody else with the wood windows. 10 years later, one's being replaced. 12 years later, the other one's being replaced. No, they are built to last. They look good. They're functional. They're excellent service. I mean, really, really high-quality stuff that's going to last in these extreme South Louisiana weather conditions. 288-8138, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com.
Another contract that will affect this coaching cycle. We'll tell you about that when we return here at Rocco's New Orleans-style Po' Boys on Drusilla, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
We're at New Orleans, Rocco's New Orleans-style Po' Boys here on Drusilla, right off of I-12. Nebraska has signed Matt Rule to a 2-year contract extension. It'll go through 2032. The buyout goes to $15 million from $5 million.
Beat Maryland.
Yeah, they're 6-2 on the season. First bowl game last year since 2016. The average value of his deal goes to $11.7 million. That includes bonuses. The 2 additional years are at $12.5 million, and the deal is 90% guaranteed.
It's real simple. No, nobody wants to tie you into one of these contracts, but the most sought-after coaches are not going to be performance-based contracts.
No,
they're not.
They're not.
They don't. You don't give up leverage. You don't give up guarantees. I mean, we talk about it all the time with professional athletes. Whoa, what's the guarantee?
Yeah.
What's the guarantee?
Yeah.
I mean,
and then we went from guaranteed to fully guaranteed. It's like, well, I thought I knew the definition of guaranteed, but apparently I don't.
But I think Max was telling us, is he doing a car wash today? The governor. I mean, McAfee.
He did McAfee.
It is.
He's on every ESPN channel right now, bouncing back and forth.
But him not personally. They're discussing the topic.
And he's on some of them. He's on some of the shows. Not live. He's not there, but he's on.
Right. He was on McAfee. And but they're talking about it on, with Stephen A. and Ryan Clark and some other. My point is, though, but Kiffin is the best bet to have success here. He's done it in the league. There's no way he's coming here when you're setting these parameters. I'm sorry.
Kiffin's going to be a 13. If Matt Rule is making $12 million a year, and
what
they're
is
not
Kiffin
going to
make?
Play, 15. I mean, we were told before LSU's job ever came open at Kiffin, there was a rumor, but that Kiffin had a deal on the table from Florida that was $13.5 million. And if Kiffin wanted to put this all to bed and focus on his team, he could sign an extension at Ole Miss today.
No,
they're not going to do
Franklin
that.
got launched.
Yeah.
When they moved on Franklin, Indiana and Ole Miss went to work to lock up their guy. One did, and one hasn't for a reason.
Sure. They want to conduct an auction.
His
His price only goes up every day.
Yes.
This is Jimmy Sexton's dream come true. Have 3 SEC teams bidding against each other. Although, LSU doesn't look like they want to bid. And that's fine. I don't need Lane Kiffin here. I mean, they're other coaches.
I understand it, but the guy, does he not understand the modern day of roster building?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, getting your boosters excited. Yeah. He's doing unprecedented things as far as getting support. They've never supported the football program like this at Ole Miss, ever. Now, he's having success on the field since Johnny Vaught in the early 60s, and it's in this league. I mean, he would give you the best chance, okay? Nobody's – I love, in the governor, again, that we're going to make sure they have success. Well, what the hell is your definition of success? Because I'll get you about 17 different definitions in 5 minutes.
The guy you just fired had the third best record in the league.
No. Most active, winningest head coach a week ago.
Yeah.
But he's not active anymore.
No, he's not.
The most active, winningest coach in college football. Is that not success? Of course. And what you going to guarantee? What is your level of success? I mean, just so completely out of line, man. Just so this. Man, I got one. I'm embarrassed, man.
Do you ever want the governor involved in? Do you want any politician?
They have to be to a degree, Charlie.
His degree should have been to appoint a president.
The chain of command allows for the president, the governor, to appoint, and so he's involved. But the publicity and to just Let
me ask a quick question: if Kiffin doesn't close this out and make the playoffs, is he still top of everybody's list?
He will be up there. Everything counts. Everything counts.
Florida would keep the offer on the table. Yes. Yeah. Hour number 2, straight ahead from Rocco's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
And we're back here at Rocco's New Orleans-style po' boys on Drusilla.
Celebrating 25 years, Charlie.
That's a lot of po' boys.
No. Rocco's older than 25. We know that. He wasn't born 25 years ago. But anyway, 25 years in business over here at Rocco's. What's your favorite?
Man, I love the shrimp.
Shrimp?
Love the shrimp.
Shrimp, Leidenheimer bread over here, fresh from New Orleans, and roast beef and gravy, the biggest seller. But the one it's just, look, Grew up on po' boys. Love po' boys. Just saw Tom Granning from Wardo's Po' Boys in Natchez. That was in here today. I mean, I've never heard of somebody doing a seafood muffalata. So you're a combination of any two of the three, catfish, shrimp, or oysters, and they do it on a muffalata bread, and they do it with a little cocktail and tartar sauce, but also some olive salad. So it's like, man, that's way too busy to be good. It's good, Charlie.
Yeah.
It's good. So red beans and rice are killer over here. Cajun potato salad, kind of done with like a little Creole mustard, just a little bit of tint of it. So really good stuff over here at Rocco's. So proud of Rocco's. So 25 years, celebrating our 25th anniversary right here at Rocco's.
All right, Max, give me this report here real quick.
Yeah, Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, an NBA writer, is reporting that there are serious internal discussions with the Pelicans right now about head coach Willie Green's future. This after another 30-point loss, back-to-back 30-plus point losses. For what it's worth, they started a different lineup. DeAndre Jordan started instead of Yves Missy in his second year with the Pelicans, and Jordan Poole was also benched in favor of Jeremiah Fears. So there were a lot of changes to the lineup. There also in the report, it states that there are people around the NBA who believe that he may have lost the locker room.
No kidding.
Charlie,
hey, tell me about the draft choices that Dumars traded for Derek Queen. Where would they be right now?
So they would be number 1 and number 2.
Number 1 and number 2.
He
traded both of those.
He traded the Pacers pick this past year for next year's. So they swapped first-round picks, and currently the Pacers own the number 2 pick, the Pelicans number 1.
Okay, so
or vice versa.
You traded potentially the first and second pick. I get we're 4 games into the season, but 2 very attractive picks for what is essentially a bench player that may or may not work out. I don't think Queen's a terrible player, but he ain't the first and second pick in the draft. Okay, hand headset to Mike. Let me talk about New Orleans' other franchise. Mike in
Charlie,
we want to run, huh?
No, Charlie, I think the Pelicans are trying to contact Jeff Landry for some help.
Oh,
yeah.
To advise him on
maybe he should
coaching search.
He could be the next coach of the Pelicans, too.
Baseball team won a national championship, huh?
They did. 2 of them in the last 3 years.
Well, but this little run this year we're on, huh? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been quite the run. I mean, it's like a hurricane. We're in South Louisiana. We could tell the Saints going to suck. All right. We knew that, right?
Yes.
I mean, I was always embraced the Saints conversation.
Everybody but Mickey.
Yeah.
Knew that.
So they're on their way to maybe having a number 1 pick, worst record. And
at least they still got their draft
pick. They got a
pick.
chance.
Yes,
they got a chance, and they have it.
They're the number 1 pick right now.
LSU in 4 weeks goes from top 5 to fire their coach.
Yep,
and then the Pels. Remember I was looking forward to the Pels.
It's
going to be a long time since when I go back to a Pels game. That was garbage the other night.
Well,
man.
you and a lot of other people.
But the LSU basketball, they won a scrimmage. Did they win a scrimmage?
They did. Yeah, they beat
McMax.
UCF.
We got us McMax.
Oh boy!
But the governor is smoothing over everything. Yes, he's a calming.
It helped a lot what he did yesterday.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Mike, in another week, the Saints changing starting quarterbacks might occupy most of our attention. It's been kind of an afterthought.
Yeah,
but you saw Shook play on Sunday. What'd you think?
Well, and then Jimmy's timing was pretty good. He asked me about it Sunday on his show.
That's because Shuck, Charlie and Max were debating it.
When Shuck, when he would make his appearance, I thought it was a good time to put him in that game. It was Rattler kind of started making some mistakes that he hasn't been doing for most of the year. Shuck came in, and again, I'll reiterate what I said Sunday. He's from a little bit I saw in preseason. He's a talented guy. He has a good arm. He moves well for a guy 6'5". He can let go of the ball quick. And so when he came in Sunday, he did get rid of the ball quick. Now, having said that, the Advocate was complimenting him on that yesterday a little bit, on his reading the defenses, letting the ball quick. And they commented on his pass to Shaheed, which is supposed to be a touchdown pass. Shaheed destroyed his guy, wide open, and Rattler. Shuck did read it quick, and he let it go. But, I mean, you got to keep the ball on the field. And maybe it doesn't need to be a touchdown pass. Maybe you can throw it a little behind him because he's so open. But you can't miss that. I know if Shaheed scores that touchdown, the Saints still lose. It's not a huge deal, but that's the kind of plays that I'm going to be looking at this week. I mean, there's plays you got to make. Not everybody's Joe Burrow, the most accurate guy that is so accurate it's incredible. Not everybody is like that. But everybody's going to miss a little bit, but you can't miss at certain times where it determines whether you win or lose the game. That's kind of what Rattler does a little bit, and now Shook, they do seem very similar in their skill set. So we'll see how he handles it. I don't like the spot for him to start. I don't think this is a good
at the
Rams coming off a bye. If I would have. When Jimmy asked me Sunday, I was kind of figuring maybe after the bye week, it goes at Rams, at Carolina, then the bye week. So maybe, the Carolina, but being he made the change, you got to stick with it, and you got to start him. And, I wish him luck, but it's going to be a tough situation. He has a chance where if he can play the rest of these games and gradually improve, some of these other young guys can step up a little bit. Maybe they can start building something. The problem with Sunday was the defense played excellent. The defensive line, which I think is kind of weak, played their best game of the year. Their secondary was a lot better, but the offense did nothing, and you end up really not even a close game.
Kellen Moore did say he'll start the rest of the games. Shook.
I did not see that.
No matter what, he's the starter for the rest of the way. Trade deadline's next Tuesday. A lot of things happen next Tuesday. The most attractive trade chip that the Saints have that they're apparently willing to part with is Shaheed, because everybody's looking for a speed receiver. Buffalo, I know Pittsburgh made a move with Valdez-Scantling this week, but Pittsburgh was looking for a receiver. Buffalo's looking for another receiver. Hell, there's nobody that can't use a deep threat. So if you're trying to evaluate Shook, you may be evaluating without the best deep threat on your team. I don't know if Olave is also on the block. I mean, I would listen to offers for anybody pretty much, but I don't know if they'll move him. I don't know if they'll move anybody, but trade deadline's next Tuesday.
I don't like the idea of moving Shaheed. This is a guy that he played 8 games last year. He was the only receiver in the NFL, had 4 touchdown catches over 40 years.
40 yards.
Over 40 yards. Thanks, Jim.
Yeah.
I know that was Derek Carr. And, you talk about weird stats. I didn't realize till late last year that the Saints actually had a winning record when games Derek Carr started during the Derek Carr tenure.
Yeah.
A winning record, which was surprising. I know that really kind of dealt him a blow.
Saints fan base greatly apprecited it.
No, I'm just saying that's not something I realized until he was gone, and I saw that. But the point is, it messed up this team a little bit because they could have had Derek Carr and then been developing a young guy. Now you throw in these young guys with a weak team, and it's kind of you don't want to where it ruins the whole rebuilding process. So I just don't like the thought of trading Shaheed because you've basically stole him for 4 years. I mean, you paid him nothing for 4 years. He is one of the best deep threats in the NFL, and I just don't see who you're going to get this any better. And you can't trade everybody, maybe a few people here and there, but I don't see why you would trade him because he's so young.
He's one of the pieces that they could keep, but they have to re-sign him, and I think that's the deal. If I would rather them keep him and re-sign him, I've said that. But if they're not going to re-sign him, then go ahead. Don't lose him for nothing.
You can. But if you lose Olave instead of Shaheed, if you can't keep them both,
I would rather trade Olave than Shaheed.
I would think so too.
Because I know what Olave is going to demand. He's going to demand probably a contract somewhere in the area of $75 million at $15 million a year, and I don't see the production that backs that up. To say nothing of the fact that he's a definite injury risk.
Yeah, that's the main thing. Yeah.
Shaheed is 27, entering what you would think is the prime of his career. And if you signed, I would rather put the money behind him than behind
Plus, you could
Olave.
you get him cheaper too.
So we've seen what 9?
Be close though.
Yeah, no, you're right.
We've seen 9 starts. Is that 9 or 10 for Rattler? How many?
13. What is it?
Okay. So now
we count last year.
So Chuck, he's going to get his starts now for at least. It seems like. I would say that's the plan to let him continue to play the rest of the season, barring injury. Who would you rather have? After we'll have to see what he does here, but who do you think's going to have a better career?
Well, what you're saying is, and I'm probably misinterpreting maybe what you're saying. If it keeps going like it is, what do you do then? You have 2 guys that are kind of semi-struggling. a team that's losing nearly every game, do you let them battle it out again, or do you bring somebody else in?
Well, Rattler had shown some things that maybe he was better than we thought. And his biggest reason he's on the bench, his ball security.
Yeah,
you can't.
You fumble in the pod. That's your pet peeve.
You got to sit down.
I know.
I mean, you got to focus. I mean, him running out there with the ball unprotected. No.
Jimmy's biggest pet peeve, quarterback.
Well, I mean,
ball security. No, it's very important.
And Shuck. Man, it's a tough spot they threw him in Sunday, but it didn't look good, and I didn't like really what I saw, and it's going to be tough for him. Man, I don't know. I would say probably neither one of these guys are long-term starting quarterbacks in the league.
That's what they're trying to find out.
Yeah, I don't. Yes, you got to find out. Okay.
That's what they're trying to find. I can't answer that now. In a month, maybe we'll have more of an inkling.
So our buddy Mike Lombardi, he's a guy that's getting thrown under the bus a little bit these days as well. So anyway, he said 25. He's kind of a gauge. Got to get 25 starts before we can give a real firm, that's the beauty of it. Well, 3 games, I got this opinion. 4 games, I got 7 games. Considering, Penix. I mean, where's he? I mean, who knows? With for many starts, but 25 to get a full evaluation. Well, they don't have 25 starts for both of them. They don't have that luxury.
No.
So, I mean, my money's on. They're going to be looking, but. No,
so. The overwhelming probability is that they will take a quarterback with their number one, with their top pick, whether it be the top pick or just a top pick.
We're looking at comfortably top 3 or 4.
Yeah, the games against the Jets and Titans are key because that's going to determine.
I don't see anybody jumping in. I don't see anybody that's going to turn your franchise around. I would think if they go in a different direction, I would think more of a free agent type guy.
And so you'll have a conflicting opinions on
I disagree.
because they're different. Mendoza's a different quarterback than my boy at Oregon, the UCLA.
Dante Moore.
I mean, those are different guys. So you're going to have different opinions on those guys.
And I haven't seen everybody yet.
But those are
the one I've seen the best is the one I like the best is Simpson from Alabama.
He is climbing.
No, he's up. He's up there too.
That's who I like the best, and I don't know if that. I haven't seen him enough if he's a first, second pick of the draft.
Mike, the reason I disagree is I don't see a free agent quarterback that I would want to hitch my wagon to. That's available.
No more Daniel Joneses. That's all I'm saying. Somebody that you evaluate.
You make a point.
Somebody
that you evaluate.
Darnold, Baker,
that you
Mayfield.
think you still think you think has never been in the right situation, and you can provide somebody like that. I don't know who that person is right now, but I'm saying is that I just don't see a rookie coming in and changing your franchise at quarterback position.
You would be taking a risk, and you'd have to give it some time.
But that Mike, that's what they're going to do. With their top pick, they're taking a quarterback, and they're hoping.
Yeah.
I mean,
could be.
I mean, how is Shuck going to turn this thing around enough to where you're going to? I mean, there've been some. I mean, Cousins was productive, and they went, and drafted Penix. I mean, there's. I mean, Rodgers with Love. I mean, we go on and on. I mean, I just don't see, especially with a quarterback. Does a really good quarterback give you a big head start on everybody else? Yeah, and so. These 3 might be. None of them might not be. But they're going to take that chance because when's the last time they've been in position to take a top 5 pick or in the quarterback era? Never.
No, the last time they had a number 1 pick was Rodgers in '81.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a totally different value to the position in that draft pick when you're talking about, and they're going to be a top 3.
And maybe this isn't particularly fair to Shook that. They're probably going to push some guys out of the building here between now and next Tuesday. The offensive line is playing without McCoy. You got a rookie at left tackle. Your lead running back has started to decline, I think, significantly. God love him, but is not there. The guy that was behind him who showed some flashes is now out for the year. I mean, it's one thing after the other. So that's a tough go.
That would be a good phrase for the team. One thing after another.
One thing after another. I don't know who's having brunch with Gail Benson this morning, but finding a positive topic would be a challenge with her right now.
It's bad, huh?
You got the worst team. I think you got the worst situation in the NFL right this second. I think you got between roster combination and salary cap and the general manager that's in place. I think you have the worst situation in the NFL. You're pretty damn close on the other end, too. with the Pelicans. I mean, you're not at the absolute bottom, but you can see it from there. And if Zion Williamson doesn't play, maybe you are bottom 3 or 4. And you don't have your draft choices next year. That's the crazy thing. I'm watching the Pelicans for a few minutes last night, and I'm like, well, I'll go back to my usual rooting for them. Nope, that doesn't even work.
They don't have their first-round pick is
gone. You didn't listen to Max? Bye-bye.
They have one pick.
No, they don't have any. The Pelicans don't have any. You got Derek Queen. You moved up.
Oh, that's right. They gave up their pick this year for Derek Queen.
The pick swap.
Well, at least it won't be a valuable one.
No, just number 1 or number 2. It's not a big
no.
deal
I'm thinking of reverse order. Yeah.
Turn it upside down, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Sometimes that helps.
I'm sorry. I'm a little off.
We're brought to you by the Thibodeau store.
I wasn't even trying to be sarcastic.
I know.
Really.
Thibodeau store and the Pierre Part store, and now the LaRose store and the Lockport store. Go to thethibodeaustore.com. You get to all 4 properties on that website. Power tools, hand tools, all of your hardware needs. You talk about the paint, you're talking about Cypress furniture, some of the unique items, and the outdoor cooking, which the number of accessories that are there is just outstanding. Your outdoor kitchen, your tailgating. I know we're getting towards the end of the football season, but your tailgating stuff, hey, baseball will be here before you know it. There's a positive story. Baseball team will be good again. You can get them down at the Thibodeau store and the Pierre Part store.
Who hired him?
Hired who?
The baseball coach.
Scott Woodward.
I mean,
no, some staff are no,
it doesn't work.
One of my biggest pet peeves. Okay, everything that went wrong is your fault. Everything that went right, no, somebody else.
Yeah.
Kim Mulkey would have come here anyway. No, it all counts. It all counts.
Look, the Thibodeau store. It's Breeders' Cup weekend. It's Green Egg weekend. We're doing some wings. We're doing tenderloins. How about tenderloin sliders, Charlie?
Nice.
A little bit of everything on that. Get the outdoor, and it's also easy with the electric starter, the charcoal starter that I got from the Thibodeau store with the Green Egg lump charcoal. That's really good, man. All my mittens to get the grill off and put the indirect plate that I got from the Thibodeau store. So all of my little gadgets, all my little the wire brush to clean the grill. I mean, you name it, man. It's got everything you need to cook in your outdoor kitchen or on site for tailgating. The Thibodeau store,
LaRose and Lockport.
LaRose and Lockport, and of course the Pierre Part store. So it is worth the trip if you love outdoor cooking like me.
Live at Rocco's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
And we return here at Rocco's. We're also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors, because when it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike. Let Philip Fontenot and his staff do what they've done for us and our family, which is secure your retirement. Make a plan that makes sense for you no matter where you are in life, no matter what your income level or what your age is. They'll make a plan that makes sense for you. Build that lifetime partnership. Coastal Capital Advisors can help you with any financial situation. So get online right now, coastalcapitaladv.com. You're going to be very pleased with the results. We certainly have been. Coastalcapitaladv.com, member FINRA, SIPC. Mike, you got a thought, Ravens-Dolphins tonight, Thursday night. Fish showed some life last week in Atlanta. Was a surprise to a lot of people.
Life?
Killed them. That was one of those out-of-nowhere performances. But you get the Ravens tonight, Lamar Jackson back for the first time.
Well, Lamar Jackson's back, and you have a high line. They're like 7.5 points favored on the road on a Thursday, which is pretty tough. But a lot of people, the Ravens were a popular preseason Super Bowl pick. And, they're using these injuries to kind of downplay their bad start, which they did have a lot of injuries. But, for example, they didn't have as many injuries this year as the Saints had last year. But they have a lot of injuries, and everybody's making excuses for them. The main thing they have is their defense is not very good. The record with Lamar Jackson is not really any better than without Lamar Jackson. So it really comes down to their defense. And this is when you think of the Ravens over the last 25 years, defense is probably what pops into your mind first. So can they get that back? I'm not sure, and I don't see where it's just going to hit the button. So with them going on the road on Thursday, I like Miami plus the points. I think this is going to be a close game, and the Ravens will probably prevail. But a lot of people, a lot of national people have a lot invested into the Ravens. And with Pittsburgh kind of faltering, they're kind of getting their hopes. So I think that's why the line's a little inflated.
Jimmy, what do you think of the Cowboys' defense?
Oh, they're not good.
What do you think of the Bengals' defense?
The worst.
Probably worse.
They're the only two that are worse in Baltimore, statistically, in points allowed.
Yeah. Now, look, they're starting to get some of those guys. It's not just Jackson. You know, Roquan Smith came back last week. We're still trying to evaluate Caleb Williams. He's about to get to his 25, and I mean, I can listen to a bunch of different opinions. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I watch him enough. I don't know if he's going to be that good or not. You know, we'll get into a whole other if he deserved to be the number one pick. But man, they shut them down. I mean, they interceptions and just hands. I mean, it was just an improved effort on defense. Our buddy Randy McKay yesterday said, "Give me the Baltimore Ravens at a 10-1 price to win the AFC." They get there. There's not a whole lot of people who want to see them. And the team we're about to bury at the beginning, maybe part of their schedule, whatever. Chiefs are playing better than anybody.
Yes.
No doubt about that.
They are.
I mean, they're beating teams. They're beating them. When's the last time you saw an NFL team have 3 first downs in 29 snaps?
No.
Like the Raiders did against them? I know the Raiders are terrible, but still an NFL team. Yeah. I mean, my goodness, they are just crushing people, man.
The other thing with the Ravens is I want to see if they can get Derrick Henry going. I mean, he did monster first game against Buffalo and has been largely played a decent game against the Rams 2 weeks ago. But other than that, it seems like he has fallen out of – he had fallen out of favor. And then they started running him again the last 2 weeks with sort of mixed results. I mean, to me, that's the scariest thing in the NFL. You had Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson side by side. These are two of the most effective rushers of the football. And it just hasn't been there.
I mean, how bad Buffalo's rush defense, because that's the one we really saw the most, where they couldn't stop him.
That's a good point. A good point. Now, he had 122 against the Rams 2 weeks ago. They lost that game. They scored 3 points.
Still.
Yeah, he had 122 yards, average 5 yards a carry, and they scored 3 points. So I don't know.
When you're a team like the Ravens or the Philadelphia Eagles, which is you're basically everything revolves around your rushing game and your front seven stopping the rush, it really becomes important for that to keep going. When that doesn't work, you don't really have much you can go to because you're not really a pure passing team. You can pass the ball very well, but you're not a pure passing team. It's all predicated off your ability to run.
Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. I'm in the process right now. They texted me about setting up a convenient time, gave me a bunch of different options, different windows of to choose from to schedule my heating safety check because it's getting a little cooler. You can see the weather around. Charlie, I'm predicting winter. That's coming soon. So
after fall again? 2 years in a row.
I'm on a roll.
Okay.
We have more luck than we're trying to predict what's happening in the South Louisiana sports scene. But anyway, it's very important. It is really important, man. It's about the convenience and not going to sleep hot with the AC. The heater, the safety inspection check is a big deal. We stress to you to try and get to do it now before they get really going on this. Call them up at 480-1000, 480-1000. Also a great time to replace that unit. You want a great brand new system for much cheaper? Now's the time. They got Carrier, American Standard, Daikin, Rheem units. If your unit is over 10 years old, if it's been serviced this past summer, it is time. Call our friends at Total Maintenance, 480-1000.
Live at Rocco's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
Live here from Morocco, celebrating their 25-year anniversary. So we're bringing Matt Humans from VEASAN right now. Guess who's with us today over here? Matt, you've been asking. He's mad. Mike Delicano's with us today.
What's up, Matt?
Oh, I thought you were going to say it was Brian Kelly and his family.
No, it's the Rocco's family. It's the family over here. So, but the we were supposed to. This is a spot where, okay, Matt, we asking a lot of our guests what your reaction was on Sunday when you heard that Brian Kelly was released, but now we got the governor kind of stealing a lot of the headlines right now. So he's at least provided a little entertainment for the rest of the country today, huh? My goodness.
Yeah, good to hear Big Mike is out there. Hey, with the Brian Kelly situation, it got so ugly in the second half against Texas A&M. I actually expected him to get fired the next day, so wasn't that surprised by it. The question now is who's going to replace him. And there's so many high-profile jobs out there. I mean, you could say LSU is at the top of the list, either 1A or 1B. But who do you go get? Lane Kiffin's going to be the one everyone wants to chase. But there's so many good jobs open, and I don't think there's that many good candidates. So that's what's going to be interesting about this hiring cycle.
Well, with the and listen, it's a chain of command. The governor appoints the board of supervisors. The board of supervisors is, that's who the athletic director,
vote on the president's the athletic director.
Yes.
Matt, I know what we think about the LSU job. Let me ask you this: with Matt Rule essentially coming off the board, who do you think is going to get the Penn State job?
You said Matt Rule's off the board?
He just signed. He signed a contract extension this morning, triple a buyout, extended years. So if he was going, he wouldn't have signed.
Similar Signetti move.
Yeah, not as long, right. But yeah.
Actually, did not see that there, and that's the top story on ESPN. See, I was working on something else, didn't see it. I talked to a big Penn State booster over the weekend who said he thought Matt Rule was going to be the man for Penn State. So who's it going to be now? I have no idea. I mean, I've said that I thought Penn State should lobby Nick Saban over and over and over. Let him say no 10 times. Maybe the 11th time he says yes, because he grew up in that West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Ohio area, and that might be one job that could bring him back. I mean, Penn State's expectations are so unreasonably high. I don't know how anyone other than Nick Saban or Signetti or Lane Kiffin could go there, and they would be thrilled. But Kiffin's not going there. He's going to Florida or LSU or staying at Ole Miss. So I really don't know. You guys, I'm sure, have talked about this. We talked about it on our show. How many great candidates are out there for all these job openings? I don't see many. Matt Rule was not even a great candidate in my estimation.
Oh, well, he's James Franklin. What's his best wins? I mean, he stabilized programs or improved them. Well, so did Franklin, but he didn't win. He didn't have the one ranked win. I mean, or he's like 1 in 15 the last ranked opponents. I mean, yeah.
Once you get past Lane Kiffin, the next 4 names I had on the LSU board, the next 4 most qualified guys that I thought they had a chance at were John Sumrall, Eli Drinkwitz, Kenny Dillingham, and Jeff Brown. And none of them are can't miss, but that's the next. If you want to throw Brent Key in there or Clark Lee, those are the next 2 names I got in there. I don't consider Dan Lanning or Marcus Freeman candidates. I don't think they move off their current schools.
No.
And I don't think that Nick Saban is coming out of retirement. So that's my list. I don't know if that would match your list, Jimmy, but that's kind of what I got.
No, and I could tell you this though, with the governor's comments, though, I could tell you who's not coming now. I mean, I could give you an idea. I mean, you kind of chop the list down pretty good. That's great. You want incentive base and lower guarantee and lower years on it. Okay, but the guys with the leverage, the big time guys, that's great. Okay. Any other thing, Matt? Not one damn dime is coming from the Louisiana taxpayers on this. Since the 80s, Charlie?
That's without looking, I would say that's the last time the LSU athletic department was seriously in the red.
40 years ago.
Yeah.
40 years it's been, but don't tell the governor that he's not in a real influential position. So anyway, but, he did have a nice accent, that a lot of people had a lot of fun with as well.
So. Well, accents really come up a lot when we talk about this stuff. Jeez.
Matt,
and I'm from South Louisiana, Shaq.
Matt, who we got? Who's your picks this week in college football?
It's you can look for the next Kurt Signetti too. I don't know if it's John Sumrall or somebody like that, but talk about Indiana coming up with the find of the century and hiring Kurt Signetti, right? I mean, who wouldn't want them right now? He was on Nick Saban's original staff as recruiting coordinator, offensive assistant. If you find a guy like that, if John Summerall is the next Kurt Signetti type, you hit a home run. You don't necessarily have to hire the big name. I think people get obsessed with the big names. And I go back to the Kentucky basketball opening from a year ago, year and a half, and everybody was talking the biggest names out there. And they ended up hiring Mark Pope, former Kentucky player who was at BYU, and a lot of people were disappointed. I can't believe Kentucky settled for Mark Pope. Pope has turned out to be the perfect hire for Kentucky basketball. And, you don't always have to have the biggest name. You just have to find the right guy. And we'll see, maybe that's John Summerall at LSU. I don't know enough about him. You guys know a little bit more about him. You could have a better idea if he's that type of guy or not. I just know when Billy Napier got hired at Florida, I knew he was not the right guy for that job. But, Billy just doesn't have to be the big name.
You like Chris Kleiman as another good coach, a little bit older, but really good coach.
Matt, when you talk about these type of guys, the other thing they provide in this NIL and transfer portal day, they can bring 10 assistants with them and 15 to 20 players with them also. So that all of a sudden you're going to lose players with the coaching change. Everybody loses players anyway. But if you're bringing like 10 assistants, you got a lot of stability right off the bat, and you can hit the ground running. Signetti did that. We saw something at Southern Mississippi.
Sure.
Southern Mississippi did this. You're probably seeing, they win one game last year. They've already won 6 games. The guy from Marshall brings 10 coaches, 18 players with them, and all of a sudden they're contending.
Plays for Troy.
Yeah.
That gets you started with the positivity.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And then it's got like Signetti who's taking it up a level. He's capitalized on having that Cinderella year last year to having a team that actually can compete and has a shot. They got there last year. They couldn't compete. This year, it sure looks like they can compete. The one thing about Summerall that I do know, though, because of the fundraise, like Kiffin is getting unprecedented support from Ole Miss. They've never supported like that at Ole Miss, okay? And the player budget, everything. For him, Summerall to get support and he's got some out of that Tulane crew, that's a tough nut to crack there. They're not used to do it. And that's what Pope is. The average athletic budget, basketball budget in the SEC for your total collective is 15%. Kentucky's given Pope 45%. So they're supporting him. He's going to do great. His roster is great, but he's getting a lot of support there as well. Let's get to your picks. Who we got this week?
Mm-hmm. I don't have a deep college football card. I got a bunch of games up that, but I'm only going to give you 3 in terms of best bets. I played Florida plus 7.5 against Georgia, and with Billy Gonzalez in as interim coach, I think you are going to get a bump here. You're going to see the Gators be a lot more energized in this game. Ryan O'Hara calling plays, Steve Spurrier Jr. on the field to work with DJ Lagway, and talent's not the issue with the Gators. The issue's been coaching, and they've also had an extremely tough schedule up to this point. I don't think the Georgia defense is anywhere near the levels Kirby Smart's had it at the past. Georgia defense right now is 130th in college football in sack percentage, meaning you get the quarterback down on 2.4% of pass attempts. Interception percentage is low. The pass defense is a weakness, and I think Florida is going to work. They'll get the plays in quicker. I think they're going to look much better this week, and 7.5 is out there. BetMGM, a couple other places as of late last night, this morning. I still take 7 if you have to, but that was the first bet I made this week, was Florida plus 7.5. Second bet I made was Nebraska plus 7 against USC. And Dylan Raiola is not going to fool anyone into believing he's the next Patrick Mahomes, but he has not been that bad this season. About 73% completion, 17 touchdowns, 6 picks. Emmett Johnson has stepped up as a workhorse running back. He had 27 carries, 124 yards against Northwestern, 21 for 176 at Maryland. And, the biggest handicapping point here is Lincoln Riley on the road. He just, throughout his career at Oklahoma, and it's been, highlighted at USC, he's 1-2 on the road this year, 1-4 on the road last year in conference games, and a lot of those were close but his one win last year was at UCLA. That was a very ugly game. And this Matt Rule situation you guys are talking about this morning, as I'm looking at that headline, I think that's got to help the Huskers a little bit too. Those players believe their coach is not going to be with one foot out the door. So I actually like that Nebraska play even more now, but I did bet that at +7 this week. And Jimmy, you were on our show, VSiN Primetime, early this week, and it sounded like your card was very similar to mine because the third play I bet was Tennessee -3. Tennessee's got the number 2 scoring offense, 45.6 points a game. Oklahoma's got the number 5 scoring D at 12.5 points a game. I believe a little bit more in the Tennessee offense here. And I know Joey Aguiar, 18 touchdowns, 6 picks. You're a little bit concerned that he's turnover prone, but I just think this Oklahoma football team has really declined since that John Mateer hand injury. Mateer has not been the same. He tried to rush back against Texas, 17 days after he had hand surgery, and just has not looked like the same team. And I like Heupel against Venables head-to-head in this matchup, too. I thought the line was cheap at Tennessee 3. I thought it would be 3.5 or 4. See how that plays out, but those are the top 3 plays I got right now.
Well, Matt, I love you, brother, but I'm not just being warm-hearted, Sam. I'm really pulling for you this week. So, anyway, let's get to your top 1 or 2 NFL picks this week.
NFL went off the rails last week with all the blowouts and all the favorites. How nuts is the NFL that you can have only 2 dogs cover and win as 2 of the worst teams in the league, the Dolphins and the Jets? Needless to say, as someone who plays a lot of dogs, I did not have a good week. I cooled off big time in the NFL last week. So what am I going to do here? I'm going to come back with one of the ugliest dogs on the card. How about the Raiders? +3 at home against the Jaguars. And not too many people are going to like this play, but again, the Jaguars are not any sort of juggernaut. Since they beat the Chiefs on that Monday night, I think they've shown the Jaguars are who we thought they were. They get beat at home by the Seahawks, go to Europe and get dominated by the Rams. And I'm not a Trevor Lawrence guy, never have been. And so you flip it to the Raiders. What are the positives here? How about this? Brock Bowers is back. The Raiders are a lot healthier off the bye. They're really a banged-up team. They're coming off probably the most pathetic performance offensively I've ever seen in the NFL. They had 3 first downs and 95 total yards in perfect weather conditions in Kansas City. And Chiefs had 30 first downs and went into victory formation with 2.5 minutes left in that game. I'm not sure I've ever seen that in the NFL. But I love to bet a team off a really embarrassing performance, and especially off a bye when you're getting healthier and getting Brock Bowers back here. I think the Raiders as home dogs are going to be live catching 3. Sadly enough, that's probably the game I like the most in the NFL right now. I also like the 49ers short home favorites against the Giants, and I like the Texans as short home favorites this week as well.
All right. So you've done some of these Bet Rivers podcasts with us in the past. Max, the producer, is efforting right now. Tell me if this thing has any type of traction where you're talking about he's trying to put a podcast together with Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry and Dwayne Colucci. Do you think that would have any legs?
Oh, a lot. I tell you what, we could sell some merch with that podcast.
Matt, what do you think?
Well, I think Max should get Wes Reynolds on there as well. That would be
He's not going to be so happy when the governor brings Kurt Signetti in, though. Yeah, who knows?
Matt, thank you, brother. Good luck to you this weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Okay, you too. You bet.
All right. Colucci and the governor, huh?
I'm trying to come up with a show title. Give me a minute.
Come on. It's so easy. All right, I'll give you a hint for the title. Haldane's here. Think of his daughter.
Oh, Governor and Degucci?
Yes.
the governor.
But I like the Gucci and the governor.
The Gucci and the governor.
Yeah,
okay, we'll play the headliner.
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. Yeah.
Live here at Rocco's New Orleans style po' boy Drusilla at I-12, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny.
And wrapping up here at Rocco's New Orleans Style Po' Boy. I know it's all football all the time, but can I just say something real quick about Trey Savage from last night?
God.
My good
Charlie, this is good for college baseball. Go ahead.
Savage last year in June was East Carolina's ace. This is June of 2024. Okay,
when they lost 2 one-run games to Evansville.
I think that's right.
Yeah, they lost the
won
first
11
one.
games.
They lost the
ace.
first
Yeah.
one. He got beat.
Yeah,
they lost the first one, or did they save him for game 2?
I think it was game 2, if I'm remembering right.
Well, no, but they lost the first one.
Yeah.
They blew out Evansville the first one when they had to win 2, and then lost another one-run game for Evansville to advance.
So he goes from East Carolina last year. This year, he started 7 games in A-ball, 4 games in high A-ball, 7 games in AA, 4 games in AAA. Did not start his first game in the majors until September the 15th, and has made now 5 postseason starts. And last night set a record for strikeouts by a rookie in a World Series game. 12 strikeouts, no walks, 7 innings against the Dodgers.
Set a record for swings and misses. And swings and misses are one thing when it starts in the zone. He's throwing strikes if they're swinging and missing.
Yeah.
At a historic level, and the guy he breaks the record, Sandy Koufax is sitting in the stands, like in the 4th row.
They have found Koufax this whole series. It's good to see. Him out there. But
this is the kid that broke his record.
I mean, Sandy Koufax is, the Mount Rushmore pitchers. Maybe the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time. And you're talking about Savage.
But
what he did.
You're
My
seeing
goodness.
more money, more programs, and this is a program that's not even in the SEC. But we saw a historic move. Their MLB team hired a guy with no pro experience, a college coach, to be their manager. We're seeing Skeens come over. My point is, it is closer and closer. And I'll tell you another thing. You want to try and say, it's just you want to go and stay in those C-rate hotels and those bus trips in the minor leagues. Would Paul Skeens have landed Livy Dunn in minor league path?
Absolutely not.
There you go. There you go.
Mike, wrapping up here, 25 years here at Rocco's, celebrated 25th year anniversary.
Yeah, it's been fun being here last 7 years, and it's just kind of a home family feeling. People come in here. A lot of people know everybody else.
Got a lot of regulars.
Yeah. It kind of builds on itself. It's been very enjoyable.
Thanks to everybody for participating today. Tomorrow, Football Friday. Lock of the
Make
Week
sure
Friday.
you tell Rocco you enjoyed listening to him on the show.
Lock of the Week Friday. Text more at Edward Jones Investments. We start at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning from Irvino's. From all of us here at Rocco's and everybody back, Jordan back in the studio. I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for On Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.